In modern JavaScript, there are two important operators you also should be aware of, since I'll be using them throughout the course as well. And that are the rest and spread operators. Now, specifically, the spread operator is one we'll use quite a bit. Let's say we want to implement a pattern where when we add a new hobby, we don't edit the original array, but we create a new array with all the old values and the new value. This is actually a pretty common pattern called immutability, where we never added existing values, but where we always replace them with copies plus the changes. And that is also a pattern I'll use quite a lot in the course. The idea behind that is that we avoid errors because we always have this clear approach of copy, then edit, and don't edit existing objects, which might lead to more unreadable code. Now, to copy an array, let's say here I create the copied array, we got a couple of possible techniques. One of them is to use the slice operator. Now, if I output copied arrays down there and I run node play.js, I see sports and cooking, so I did indeed copy it. Slice simply copies an array. We can pass arguments to narrow down the range of elements we want to copy. With no arguments, we copy the entire array. Now, instead of slice, there's also a different technique. We can create a new array with square brackets, and we could add hobbies there, right? Now, what happens if we execute this? What will we see in the console? Well, if I hit enter, we see, well, it looks like a copy on first sight, but actually it's an array with another array in it. So the outer array has only one element, and that's the inner array. So it's not a copy, it's just a new array where the first element is the old array. And with that, I mean the exact same object, not a copy of that. So we just created a nested array here. And that, of course, was not what we did want to do here. And here we can use the spread operator. The spread operator are three dots we can add in front of an array or of an object. And these three dots are an operator just as the plus or the minus are. And they do one thing. They take the array or object after the operator and pull out all the elements or properties, so all the elements of an array or all the properties of an object, and put it to whatever is around that spread operator. In this case, we got square brackets around the spread operator, and therefore all the elements which are pulled out of the existing array are added to the new array. And therefore, if I now run this file again, whoops, and I save it before running it again. Now we see this was the output of the old approach, the nested array. Now we got no nested array anymore. We got one array, and this is now a copy of the old one because we take the spread operator to pull out these elements and add them one by one to the new array. So this is something you'll see me do a lot to copy existing arrays or objects. There it would work in the same way. We could have our copied person by using curly braces, then the spread operator, the three dots, and then the old person. And now if I console log the copied person here, and I execute this file again, this is our copied person here because I'm pulling out all these elements from that object and I add it to a new object. So this works for both objects and arrays, and it is syntax I'll use quite a bit in this course. Now this is the spread operator. I also mentioned the rest operator. And the rest operator is essentially the opposite. Let's say I have a function which I'll name toArray. It's an arrow function. And there I expect arguments arg1, arg2, arg3. I want to return an array that contains these arguments. Whoops, and I should add an equal sign here. So I want to return an array that contains these arguments. I can return square brackets here, of course. And then the first element will be arg1. Then I have arg2 as the second element and arg3 as the third element. Now I can console log toArray, and I pass 1, 2, and 3 as the three arguments to that function. If I now execute play.js, we see an array with 1, 2, and 3, these 3 elements. So this is working. But this is totally not flexible. What if we want to pass 4 arguments? Well, we could call it like that. JavaScript actually allows that, but of course it doesn't get added because we only work with 3 arguments here. What we could do is we could use the so-called REST operator there, ... and then just args. And this will actually take all the arguments, how many we might specify, that doesn't matter, and it will bundle them up in an array for us. So here, args will be an array, and I can just return that actually. And now if I re-execute this with toArray getting 4 arguments, you see now I have my array with 4 arguments here. So the REST operator looks just like the spread operator, 3 dots, and it's the place where you use it that defines how you call it. Are you using it to pull elements or properties out of arrays or objects? Then it would be the spread operator. Are you using it to merge multiple arguments into an array, and you use it in the argument list of a function? Then it's the REST operator. It's the same operator by the syntax, or from a syntax perspective, the name differs depending on the place where you use it. I'll not use that syntax a lot in this course, but it's still nice to know. But being able to pull out elements or properties, that is something you should understand, because that is a syntax you'll see me use quite a bit throughout the course.